Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, is my voice clear? If you have any issue, please leave it at the chat box. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I would like to start a short introduction. Okay, morning, everyone. My name is Lee Won-Xiang. I'm from Utah. I'm also the KLESF Secretariat. Welcome to today's workshop, Chemistry in Pocket. Thank you for taking time out and being here today. Chemistry is a wide branch of science where sometimes students feel overwhelmed to memorize the content. This pocket chemistry will help students to remember the topic much more efficiently. This pocket chemistry not only reduces the space but is also full with compact short notes, formulas and diagrams which is much more presentable and interesting for study purpose. The objective of this workshop are first, to demonstrate how to make pocket reading materials in chemistry. Second, to develop interest among students, especially in chemistry, by combining the science and craft. Okay, now I would like to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Sree Amertharaj Ratnam. He is currently a lecturer and based at Center for Foundation Study, Kampar Campus, Utah, teaching all chemistry-related subjects. He graduated from University Science Malaysia, having Bachelor in Forensic Science and Master in Chemistry. He is passionate in teaching and sharing knowledge through conventional way with a modern twist. Okay, so now without further ado, we will turn the time over to Mr. Sree Amertharaj.
Thank you, Miss Lee, and a very good morning to everyone. And thank you for the time for joining this workshop. Okay, I'm Sree Amertharaj, and I'm a lecturer working in University Tengku Abdul Rahman in Center of Foundation Studies. I'm teaching chemistry, all the subjects related to chemistry in Center for Foundation Studies. All right. So basically, when we talk about what I can say. Students doing revision notes, okay, there will be some dilemma with the students in the sense of like what should we include, okay, in the revision notes, and also what we shouldn't include in the revision notes, and how to make the revision notes interesting for future studies, okay, because usually when students do revision notes, it will be like copying back every single thing that you have learned from the revision books, or whatever that your lecturers or teachers are explaining in the class. All right, so having said that, sometimes the notes could be a bit dull, okay, in the sense of like you might think, this is not interesting, okay, this note is not interesting, or this chapter is not interesting, which leads to the your interest towards the chapter itself, and also towards the overall, I would say, the course itself. Okay, for example, if you really don't like chemistry, okay, when you do notes or short notes, some of you won't even do the notes, so it's okay. That's I mean, it's your wish, but the thing is that whoever doing the notes or short notes for the revisions, they might just copy back every single thing. All right, so sometimes when you revise your notes, okay, for your examination, you might have some I would say a setback in the sense of like maybe the way you write the notes is not appropriate, or which is not in the sense of like is what needed, to be answered in the examination. Okay, and sometimes your notes might be very dull, or there is no proper way of doing your notes. All right, so for today's workshop, I'm going to briefly introduce to you what are the ways of doing or how to do a good short notes. Okay, that is nothing personal about it. It is just my point of view. Everyone will have their own way of doing notes. All right, so maybe you can just take which is good for you, and then just leave which is not appropriate for you. Okay, in that sense, I also will try to incorporate this note taking into crafting. Okay, because for me, I'm a science person with I would say I have a imaginative skills, okay, of doing all this kind of craft and arts and so on. All right, so usually in my working place, even the lecturers, my colleagues will ask, hey, you are a science person, but how you are so into arts and crafts? Sometimes you don't know what you are into, what you are interested in. Okay, it will be a totally opposite polar. Science and arts is a totally opposite thing. But nowadays there's a trend to make science more interesting through us. All right, or crafting. So today, for today's workshop, I'm going to introduce to you, or maybe a few template on how to make a pocket size readable notes. All right. This template actually will save a lot of your space actually, because you can just put it in your pocket or put it in your file or folder and bring it everywhere that you want to go. I mean, in the sense of like, if you're very studious type, maybe if you're going for a visit or vacation, you still want to study, you can just bring it all over again. Okay, so I'm just going to share a few slides on the how to write or take good short notes. All right, so let me just share my screen for the presentation part. Just a very short briefing on this, how to create creative miniature short notes. Okay, if you can see here, the cover page of, the cover slide of my slide itself is like the two brains, left side and also right side, which is more on like, you should have the balance of your the brain function or something like that lah. Okay, because sometimes if you are too analytical, your life can be very boring. All right, so you should have some color, some fun, and glitz in your life, in the sense of like making it more on a balanced way lah. All right, so we start with our just a learning outcome now, what you're going to learn by the end of the workshop today. Okay, first thing first is to create a miniature short notes without consuming large space. This is my main concern, because usually when you revise, you'll bring all your textbooks, okay, your journals, your articles, and so on. Okay, so by spending a little time, okay, of your time to create a short notes, you can actually let go a lot of spaces. Okay, you don't need to bring all the books, all the books and also notes with you. All right, so next one is to write a study note in an organized manner. Most of the time when students or even teachers, okay, write notes, okay, or maybe a lesson planning or something like that, we tend to just scribble everything and then assume that things will get organized by itself. No, actually, you have to put the effort. Okay, the students have to put the effort to organize which chapters have to come first, or which subtopic have to come first, and you have to follow according to your syllabus lah. All right, and to incorporate art and craft skills, which make study notes more appealing. So this is the main focus for today's workshop, whereby I'm going to try my level best to make your notes interesting. Okay, basically I'm not going to tell you how to write the notes. It's just that using the template, you see you can organize the notes in a better way. All right, and finally, of course, to make science, especially chemistry, revision more fun lah. Okay, because usually we say chemistry, physics is a kind of like very stagnant or monotonous subject. Okay, because you only have the reactions. Okay, you have the formula and blah blah blah, all the things. Okay, beside biology, I think biology is more fun because you can see all the the biology, microorganism and something like that, the cells and something like that. So maybe it's a bit more interesting, slightly more interesting compared to chemistry and physics. But overall, student will have a general thought that science subjects are very boring. Okay, so we want to break the perception that science subjects is not really boring. It's interesting. It's just how you make it interesting. All right. So when you come for when we look into to create a very good study notes, there are basically 3 steps lah. Okay, not many. Many steps involved. Just 3 steps. Okay, first thing is to understand what a good study notes. Okay, you should know what in the sense of like in the sense of like you should recognize, okay, a good study note. Okay, so the next step is to prepare the good study note, because once you recognize a good study note, you should prepare to do the good study note. Okay, And the next step is to save or keep your study notes in a proper way, because sometimes you tend to write everything, okay, whatever your lecturers or teachers telling in the class, okay, brief you in the class, you just scribble around in a paper and then you just keep it. Okay, you never do a proper documentation or transfer it into a notebooks or transfer it into a proper paper or something like that. Okay, and expect things to be you can remember back all the things that you scribble, so you realize that I use a lot of the scribble term here, because taking notes or doing good notes, creating a good notes doesn't require you shouldn't scribble, you should write back. Okay, in the sense of like you should write later. I will tell you what kind of what are the things that you should write lah. All right. So first thing first, like I say, first step, understand a good study note. Okay. Later, I'll show you the example of good study notes and also notes that can be improved further. All right. So when you want to understand a good study notes, how you know it is a good study note? It saves your time. Okay, because it is straightforward. It doesn't require so much of words and something like that. Like in Malay we say bahasa berbunga-bunga. We are not writing a essay here. Okay, we are not writing a story here. So we are just going to summarize the paragraph into keywords or in the flowchart or something like that. Okay, so it's really save your time rather than revising all the not important words or terms. You just focus on the important terminology or something like that. All right. And easy to understand and learn. Make sure, if it's a good study note, it's supposed to be easy to understand and learn. Very straightforward, okay? And it should contain important ideas of class, lecture, and books, all right? So this is what I mentioned just now. You should have the summary. Your notes should be summarized, okay, and compact, okay, of what your lecture class, or what you have gone through in your lecture class, or what you have read in the books and so on. All right. So it should also have a proper sequence, and this is very important, because like I said just now, you scribble everything, you put it in the paper, you put it in the file, but you don't know which one comes first. Okay. And when you start to do the revision, you tend to jump from one chapter to another chapter, from one subtopic to another subtopic, and you tend to make yourself more confused. Okay, so you should know every single good study note. Okay, you should have the proper sequence, the chapter wise, subtopic, headings, and also the topics and so on. All right. It also to produce an overview on how to present your answer in the exam. This is a very important point, because your notes should be in a way that how you're going to write in your examination. So usually you have to create the notes in accordance to your you somehow know what kind of question that can be asked, because you should have done your revision questions, past year questions and so on, right? So you should know the type of question that can be asked in the examination, so you can create a notes similar to the examination questions and so on. All right. And can be easily revised again and again. This is also very important, because when you create a short notes, it is your hard work. All right. So you should create in a way that it can be revised again and again. It's not like one-time effort. Maybe you can just pass it down to your siblings, your friends, or your juniors. So it can be easily revised, straightforward, right? And finally, it is your work, and you should feel confident about it. Okay. Sometimes students tend to do revision notes or good study notes, but they don't have the confidence with their notes. Okay. Initially, it will be like that, because you don't have the exposure of doing a good study notes and something like that. But of course, now we have a lot of ways of finding it out. Okay, you have internet. You can actually search a lot of website. Especially, I would say Pinterest is a very good platform for you to find a lot of ideas. Okay, to get a good short notes on and an overview of how to create a short notes. All right. Again, I would say you should be confident about your short notes. If you don't feel confident, means you are not doing. You are not doing the justice for your short notes that you've created. Okay. Sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm overdoing it, or maybe I didn't put much information in the notes. It's okay. It's a learning process. So the next time around, when you realize it, because when you revise, you will know, okay, this information I should put it earlier on, but I didn't do it. So you do it on that time. Okay, you add on the information, something like that. So as I said, learning is a continuous process. So when you do your revision, you somehow will learn something new. Okay, so don't worry if you feel that your notes are not compact, not good, or something like that. You can learn and add on along the way. All right. Okay, the next step is how to prepare a good study notes. This is very important because just now you should recognize a good study note. Okay, now how to prepare a good study note. Okay, first thing first, you have two things to do when you want to prepare a good study notes. Right, you have to collect the idea from the resources. Okay, what kind of ideas? Okay, later we go into it. Okay, and then you also have to give a proper shape to these ideas. Okay, it's like your what do you say, your imaginative skill or something like that, your whatever ideas that you have in your brain, so you want, or in your mind, you want to put it in a proper way. Okay, it will be just dangling there in your mind, but you want to put it in a proper sequence, in a proper way. That's why once you collect the idea from the resources, you have to give a proper shape to the idea. Okay, so let's look into the collecting ideas from the resources. Okay, usually how you collect the ideas. Okay, nowadays we have the smartphone. Okay, of course you can snap the pictures from the lecture slides or whatever that your teachers or lecturers written on the whiteboard, okay, or blackboard. But I would say snapping pictures from the smartphone is an easy way for you to extract the information. But the old school method is the best method, okay, which is having a pen or pencil and a paper. You have to write. Once you write, you will install the information in your mind. Okay, so somehow when you recall back, when you do your revision, or when you redo your revision notes, okay, you will tend to, oh, this is something that I've written earlier on. Okay, you will recall back because the ideas that you have written on the, or you scribble on the paper, it will somehow be registered in your mind. All right, jot down important information given by the teachers and lecturers. Remember to focus on what your teachers and lecturers will say. Say in the class or in the lecture. Why? Because sometimes they tend to give information which you can't find in the books or revision journals, or any other reading materials. Okay, because they will say in the sense of from their experience, okay, from their teaching experience, what are the things that students should do or shouldn't do, which are the important things you should focus, and so on. Okay, so sometimes most of the student, they think that, okay, they shouldn't they think that, okay, let's say if I didn't focus in the class, it's okay, I can just go back and revise. It is a 50-50, I would say. Okay, if you're lucky enough, or whatever that you are revising is appropriate. If you're not lucky enough, you might just waste your time revising something which is not necessary. All right, so always focus in the class and jot down the important notes, okay, or important information. Okay. Next, you have to write down the particular terminologies, definitions, or stepwise explanation. This is why I'm trying to emphasize on the students to focus on what the lecturers or teachers telling in the class, okay, on the lecture room, right? Why? Because these terminologies or definition or stepwise explanation will be summarized by them, okay, from their experience. Okay, for example, certain chemical equation or certain chemical reactions, okay, can be summarized by your lecturers without looking into the the revision books and also your other reading materials. So you somehow get some tips or hint on a shortcut way of doing a certain calculation or certain chemical equation and something like that. All right. So make sure you jot down all the important terminologies and definition and step by explanation. This is only for the drafting part. Okay. We never really go into the doing the notes yet. Okay. This is just a draft of your notes. Okay, and then summarize long-winded, okay, explanation from the book or journal. Okay, so most of the time students tend to read, okay, your reading material, and then try to, putting an effort to create a note, but ends up just rewriting every single thing. All right, because you think that everything is important, every word that you read is important. Okay, some students, they just remember word by word, okay, and then just warm it out like that, okay, in the note making or even in the examination, which I would say is not to say wrong, but there's a risk. Let's say if the question were asked to question asked is twisted a bit. Okay, so this student couldn't really perform well because they just remember word by word from the lecture notes or reading material and so on. Okay, so make sure you summarize by your own words. Okay, and try to understand by your own words, in the sense of like when you rewrite your notes, try to understand and try to write it in your own words. Okay, and then recognize important data, especially from the class. Okay, so usually you will have some discussion in the class, and among your other friends or with the teachers or lecturers. So try to recognize all the important data that sometimes they might blurt it out. Okay, so this is all the ways for you to collect the data from the resources. And don't forget, you can also collect the data from the internet sources. Now this is more on online, so there's a lot of data, especially revision materials, that you can find from the internet. All right. And next, to give a proper shape, okay, to these ideas. So this is why I'm saying it's very important. I think this part is very important for you to create a good study notes. Okay. First thing first. Just now, you just scribble everything, all the important data, all the extraction and everything. But now, when you want to create a proper study note, make sure you give the headings, okay, in the sense of the title, the chapter's title, or the topic. And if it's too long, give a subtopic, all right? And make sure it is the proper order. Follow the syllabus, okay, which chapter comes first, or which one comes later, and so on. Because sometimes the order is very important for your understanding. Some student might think, okay, we can just jump to another chapter. It's okay, no problem. It's nothing wrong. But most of the student will feel that, okay, if you jump from one to another, one chapter to another, it makes them more confusing. So make sure you know what is the order of your syllabus and so on. All right. And always makes a comparison table, chart, and mind maps. This is what I always emphasize in my class. All my students, I think, if they are here, they should have recognize this. Always do your mind mapping. Okay, this mind mapping, most of us underestimate it. Okay, in the sense of like we think that, oh, this is a waste of time or something like that. But trust me, mind mapping, or if you transfer all the information in the charts or table, it's a very good way for you to summarize your the syllabus or the chapter in a shorter period of time. All right, because the next round around, when you want to revise back, you have everything in your fingertips. All right. So notes to be written in a way how question can be asked in the exam. So this is what I mentioned just now. Okay, make sure you write your notes in a way that it is similar to your revision question and something like that. Revision question and something like that. The question can be asked in a similar way, but in a different form. Okay, so make sure your notes are somehow, for example, let's say we want to talk about the trend of the atomic size of group 1 and group 2 elements. So you can just write what is the trend of the atomic size and atomic size of the group 1 and group 2 element, and from there you just write all your point forms and also maybe a flowchart or something like that. Okay, and if you're writing notes using your own handwriting, make sure it is readable for future use. So most of you, I mean, especially students, you can't avoid it. As a lecturer, I can't avoid it, in the sense of like looking into a lot of various kind of handwriting. Okay, some students really put a lot of effort in giving a good handwriting, scripts or something like that. But some students, their handwriting is a bit on the offside. Okay, so try to improve on that. Okay, because your handwriting is very, very, very important, and make sure you do your notes in a way that it is pleasing, okay, to your eyes and your minds. Okay, because it's your own work, you should give 100% effort for that, right? Okay, so the last step is to save and keep your study notes in a proper way. Okay, so how you want to keep your study notes in a proper way? So now you have already you already collected the the ideas from the resources, information from the resources, and then you somehow know how to give a proper shape to the ideas or information. And finally, how you want to keep it. Okay, so usually we keep it in the notebook. Okay, maybe in the files. If you use a loose paper, sometimes you just bind up and then you keep it in the file or folders. Okay, and sometimes most of the students nowadays, like I said just now, you just take the picture and a screenshot and everything, and then you save it digitally. So it can be accessed anytime, because you have your phone with you, so you can access anytime. Okay, and sometimes you might also want to snap the picture of your short notes and then keep it in your phone so that you can access it anytime. All right, and then very important thing is that to name the file accordingly. Okay, because it is important, because sometimes most of you just snap, and then after that you don't know where you put and you don't know what is what and so on. So make sure you snap your, make sure you name your files accordingly, even for your hard copies. Okay, like say if let's say if you use a loose papers, okay, you tend to, if let's say put everything inside a folder, you don't know which folder, which chapter is these notes from, because everything looks similar, because it's your own work, right? You should have the similarities in your works, right? So make sure you've named the file accordingly, maybe the chapter, or maybe from which page you take the information and so on. All right, and go creative with your study notes. This is very important. Okay, there's no boundary for your creativity. Okay, there's no right or wrong with your creativity. Okay, if you can go creative, you can go overboard. Just go ahead. Okay, because it will make your revision or your study process more interesting. Okay. So this is a few good example that I actually extracted from the internet. Okay, from my point of view, this is a good example. Maybe some of you might disagree with me. So it's up to you. That's why I say when you want to do a short notes or studying material, it's the individuality. It's up to you which way you are comfortable with. Okay, if you look into here, why I'm saying it's quite nice. I would say it's a good example because it has the what you call two factors here: the words, colors, okay, and also for some extent they have the diagram or drawings. Okay, so this makes things much more interesting when you see all the drawings, right? So it's kind of like a make yourself to do more in the sense of make your revision to get better, in the sense of like, oh, okay, this is like what I'm going to study, and you can just straight away focus on the reactions and something like that. All right, so I would say this tree is a very good example, especially if you look into the periodic properties there. Okay, in whole paper, the whole page there, okay, the particular student already summarized a few factors, okay, of the periodic properties. So this is a very good example because the periodic properties actually you can can extend up to 7 chapters, okay, but he or she managed to do it in one page only. Okay, so this is how a good study note, because from here he or she can relate to whatever things that they're going to revise later on in their chapter, the other chapters. Okay, because this is like the master copy, and from this master copy he or she can relate to the other subtopics and something like that. Okay, so this is actually a very good way of doing your what you call short notes lah. Okay, so if you can see the second one and the middle one is for the organic chemistry. So most of you might think organic chemistry is very hard, okay, because there's a lot of chemical, organic compound, okay, chemical compound that you need to understand. If you ask me, the 3 branches of chemistry, the basic 3 branches of chemistry, which is the physical chemistry, organic chemistry, and also inorganic chemistry. These 3 are totally different. Okay, physical chemistry mostly on your understanding and also mostly on the calculation part. Okay, if you look into your organic chemistry, it's mostly on the application, because you want to apply the certain functional group, okay, the reaction of the functional group in a daily life or something like that. So you should know all the how to apply the properties of your organic chemistry, organic compound in your daily life and so on. So that is why I would say organic chemistry is a little bit on the tougher end. Okay, whereas the inorganic chemistry is mostly on theory. You have to just remember, revise. It's like a science version of the history, okay, sejarah, like that. All right. So these are the notes that I can say can be improved further. Okay. Why I say like that is because if you see here, if you see on the rightmost, okay, whereby you have a lot of like chemical equation, the organic compound there, it's actually a very good note. But what happens is that the student, I would say, overdo it, means crumple everything in the small, in a one page like that. So it tends to be like too busy there. So you kind of like maybe miss out a branch or a functional group which is really important or something like that, right? So that's why I say if you want to create a good notes, make sure you give some space, okay, some air there, okay, for the notes to breathe, okay, and also for your eyes to breathe also, all right? And if you look into the middle one, I think it's more on the words, okay, and the what do you call the handwriting also the kind of changing here and there. Okay, so maybe the particular student can put some color, okay, or attractive color or something like that lah. Okay, and for the left side, it is actually a good note, I would say, but too much of highlighting, because when you want to do a short notes, actually it's a summary of your whatever you have learned, but now in the notes itself they are making another summary, so it beat the purpose of doing the division notes. Okay, so make sure you when you extract the information, okay, you extract the important information only lah. Right. Okay, so done with the briefing. So now I'm going to jump into the creating a creative notes. Okay, so I'm going to share stop sharing the slide here and go into the hands-on. Okay, I hope that you have some stationeries with you, especially papers, as especially the A4 size paper, so that uh, so that I can go with you on how to create a few templates for making a creative pocket size short notes. All right. So having said that, okay, this is the what do you call the envelope that I use to keep all the notes. Okay. Basically, you can keep up to 20 notes here, but for today's workshop, I only have three what do you call three template, okay, for the example, because this template can be actually you can extract it from the internet. Okay, this is the purpose of why the title of the workshop is given as a pocket chemistry. Of course, you can keep it in the smaller envelope, but I couldn't find a smaller envelope, so I just have the, I think this is like a half of the A4 size, okay, envelope. All right, so you can see here, just one envelope, you can put a lot of notes here and you can bring everywhere. Okay, so that is why I'm the title of the workshop is the pocket chemistry. Okay, so I'm showing a few templates here first, then I'll let you know how to do it. Okay, basically, if you can see here, okay, so this is actually the wallet. Okay, wallet for the notes. Okay, so here of course it's still blank, but you can actually put it in a way like like when you want to do your presentation, okay, in front of the class, and sometimes you might forget about the words or something like that. So it's like a flashcard lah. Okay, so you can actually write every single thing in this flashcard, and then using this wallet, okay, you can just insert every single thing here. Okay, so basically you have two slots here. Okay, one the smaller one slot here, and then the larger bigger slot here. So I'm going to show you how to create these slots. All right. Next is the book. Okay, this is a very, 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 I would say, I don't know how many varies I need to say, but it's a very good template for you to create a notes. Okay, because from this small size booklet, okay, you can actually open up, okay, to have a lot of pages, okay, to write your short notes. Okay, so I'm giving a very straightforward notes here, because I for me I feel that that part is an individual characteristic. You should know what you should write here. So I just give you a few examples here lah. Okay, so these are the things that I find it very interesting for students to create a notes like this. All right, and then you can actually open up, okay, further, okay, to create more and more space. I think that's another one here. Okay, there's another one. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So basically, you have the front and also the back of the book. Okay. So I will let you know how to make this one also. Okay. And finally, you have this. This is, I would say, the master copy of all the template, because it is only, I think, about a 5 cm to 5 cm square. But if you open up, you can actually have one whole syllabus, okay, or maybe one whole chapter of the notes. Okay, wait, I try to open up for you, and then I'll show you why I say like that. Okay, something like this. Okay, square, square, and you open up, open up, open up, and then open up. Okay, so you can see here you have three like squares attached together, and when you close everything, it's going to be like, you know, a very space consuming notes. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create these three things today. Hopefully you can just go through with me. Okay, and then you can have you know, you can try it out with your own you know, papers or stationeries like that. I'm using a brown paper here because I'm addicted to brown color, so I feel it's more comfortable for me to it makes a bit you know, like a rustic and vintage kind of feeling lah. Okay, rather than using the other colorful paper. It's up to you, actually. It's up to you whether you want to use other color papers or something like that, because when I use this thing, I can paste all the other colors inside. All right. Okay, first thing first, I want to show you how to do the wallet. Okay, you have the wallet. You take a what do you call, A4 size paper. Okay, and I would say just try to fold in the middle. Okay, if you can see here, I think I put a dash line here. Okay, fold in the middle of the two, if I mean the paper into two sides. Okay, like a hamburger. Okay, and then fold again. When you fold it into half, okay, and fold this part to the center. Okay, so basically you have something like this. Okay, you fold it into center, and then you're also going to fold the bottom part to the center, so you have both sides folded to the center. Okay, and now when you see here, I put a dotted line here. You're going to fold this upward, or maybe downward lah. Okay, if I do like this, it's upward lah. Normally I do like this. Okay, upward. Okay, so you'll have one folded upward, another one folded twice upward, downward, and then upward. Okay, and then you are going to flip it the other way. Okay, when you have this thing, what you're going to do is that you are going to fold maybe 1 cm or 1.5 cm of the size, the folding inwards. Okay, from the right hand side and also from the left hand side. Okay. Okay, so something like this. Okay, you have folded inside, and then now you are going to fold it inward, something like this. All right. Make sure you put the glue here, okay, or maybe a double-sided tape, and then stick it together. Okay, and then when you flip it over, you have the small folding, okay, and then the larger pocket. Okay, so this is how you are going to do your what you call wallet, chemistry wallet. Okay, so you fold close like this, and then you get your wallet. So you can actually keep it in your pocket, or you can put it in the envelope and bring everywhere that you want. All right. So that is how you're going to do your wallet. Next, how you're going to do the book. It is a very interesting. Actually, this for me is a very a straightforward and very good template for you to do your short notes. Okay, because it's like a book, like how you read your short book. Like how you read your revision notes and something like that. But the thing is that it's a small size and it's quite compact, and you can actually add in more things into it. All right. So first thing first, how to do that? Okay. Okay, again, take a A4 size paper. Okay, and when you have your A4 size paper, you have two ways of folding. One, we say the hot dog fold like this to the at the longer edge. Okay, and then the hamburger fold. Okay, at the shorter edge. Okay, so when you fold it, make sure you fold inside. Okay, at the hot dog edge, and also fold inside again the hamburger edge. Okay, now you see, I want to make my crease that I fold facing to me, towards me. Okay, facing towards me. The creases that I fold, both creases facing towards me. All right. So you can have like a, you know, like a roof of the house or something like that, the shape. And then you just flip it to the other side. Okay. The end of the two sides here, you're going to fold inside. Okay. So you'll have, wait, I'll show you. something like this. Okay, the end of it, you just fold inside. Make sure it's all same size. So you have like a W shape, if you can see here. Okay, you can have the W shape. So when you have the W shape here, what you're going to do is that you're going to fold everything this side, and then I'm going to cut only half of the the middle portion here. Okay, so when I cut into half of the middle portion here and I open back, it's going to be like this. Okay, and then I'm trying to fold back into the hot size, and you can see it's going to be like like a diamond in the middle, the hole, the middle, the square or diamond, and then the side is going to be folded. Okay, and then you're just going to push towards the middle and then fold everything. All right, so you got your book. Okay, so I just repeat it again now because it's very easy, right? Okay, first thing first, fold in the the hot dog style, and then the hamburger style, and make sure the creases are facing you. The creases means the folding are facing you. Okay, and then taking the sides of the the short edges here, and then just fold it in the middle. Okay, and you get the W shape. Okay, and after that, open back and cut only halfway through the middle portion here. Okay, cut here. Okay, so you have something like this now, and then open back. So you have the creases facing up. Okay, towards you. So push. So you have the square. Okay, square. Okay, push further. Okay, until you have like a plus sign. Okay, and then fold, 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 and fold everything. You get a book. All right. So this is actually, I would say, a very good template for you to make study notes. Okay, making sure it's a creative, especially if any teachers are teaching teachers who like to have it in the bigger size. Okay, you can actually use in the manila cut or something like that to create the same template. Okay, so because we want to show it to the whole class of the template and everything, I mean the notes and everything. All right, and finally the master copy. Okay, this is actually a very easy template lah. Okay, it's a very easy template. Like you see just now, it is just a combination of 3 squares. All right, it's just how you fold the squares lah. Okay, so I'll show it to you. You should have 3 individual squares like this. So I'm using a roughly about 20 cm size. You can use a smaller version, but if you use a smaller version, you have a limited space. Okay, so you can use a larger version to create a compact study notes. Okay, this size I think is quite good for students to take notes. You can actually use a manila cut size for teachers to do it like a presentation in front of the class or something like that. All right. So what you do is that you're going for each square, you're going to fold, okay, every single size. Okay, fold, and then diagonally, and also another diagonally. Okay, so you should have ends up with all the 8, folding the creases here in the square. All right. So having said that, you can roughly see you have one square here. Okay, another square here. Here's another square, and here's another square. So I'm just going to take one square here and just keep it. I just make a note here because I'm going to stick it on it. All right, stick another square on it. So taking another square which I already folded earlier on. So I'm going to make sure that's the square that I make a note there, right? Okay, and I'm going to overlap it with the earlier version of the square. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to glue it. All right. Okay, so I just glued 2 squares together. Okay, now it looks like it's coming together, right? So you have another third one. Okay, and then place it exactly the same place. Okay, the square from the second, the square from the second big square with the third square. Okay, so just place overlap. Either you put it this way or this way, whichever way you want. Also, it's no problem. So as long as you just place it at the same place now, okay, and then you glue it, you should have three diagonal side or squares, okay, which can be folded, okay. So once you have like this, sorry. So once you have something like this, okay, you can fold it in the sense of like, it's not sticking nicely. You have to fold it this way first, okay, and then this way, and then the bottom part, okay. Why you need to fold this? Because later on, when you want to fold everything together, it can come into place now, okay. So let's say I'm just showing just one part here. This portion, I have to press. So this portion, I just press inside, and then press it inside. So you have all the one of the the square. Okay, it's folded to the smaller square here. Okay, so this square is the one that I marked just now. Okay, the one X there, right? So I marked just now. So I'm going to do the same thing for the another square. Okay, so I'm just going to fold inside. Okay, so this portion I just bring it to the place that I marked just now. Okay, and then fold it, okay. So you have two sides being folded. So what happened to this one? You just push inside lah. And the only part, the drawback here is that you have a lot of folding to do lah. Okay. But just invest some time, okay, for you to get a good copy of the notes and so on, right? Wait, try to. Okay, so when you have something like this, you just fold this thing towards inwards, okay, and then when you fold it inwards, you are automatically going to fold everything closer, okay. Folding inwards, right, this flap, automatically everything closer, and I'm going to make it this way, okay. So finally you have the square that I have already done earlier on. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so this one. So actually, this is a very good way of portraying the whole, I would say, the chapter. For example, I normally use this kind of template for the organic chemistry because it's like kind of related from alkane. The alkane is related to the alcohol. Alcohol related to the carbonic compound, and carbonic compound is related to the what you call carboxylic acids. Okay, and so on. So you no need to write every single thing here. Maybe maybe you can just keep it in the sense of the mechanism portion. Okay, and maybe another folding for the reaction portion. Okay, because you cannot like simply put everything inside and make like very crumpled and very busy. All right, so you just have to portion out which template you're going to use it for which part. All right, so these are the few templates that you can actually utilize for your own revision purpose. All right, so having said that, I'm just going to expose to you a short game, okay, before I end the workshop today, okay. This game is actually quite interesting. I just found it recently, and usually students, when it comes to chemistry, students tend to overlook the importance of the periodic table, all right, because sometimes the periodic table is provided, okay, in your examination, and they just think that it is not really important to recognize the the elements and so on. So this game is actually a very good game for you. I mean, especially for teachers, to incorporate to introduce the elements in the periodic table indirectly. Okay, in the sense of like playing this game, and in the same time, you're going to let the student to recognize each of the elements, where does the element is located, and indirectly you can also teach them on their properties of the group 1, group 2, or group 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, and 18. Okay, so it is actually called as Battle of Ship periodic table version. Okay, so what you do is that I have two files here. Okay, one for one opponent, one player, and another one is for another player. So usually you play with two players. Okay, two students. Okay, so in each of the file, I have two sets of your periodic table. Okay. Yeah. So something like this, okay, at the bottom portion and also at the top portion here. So one player will have one set of this file, okay. Means you have the two periodic table version. Okay, what you're going to do is that, okay, the students are kind of going to create battleships. Okay, how they are going to create a battleship is that you have maybe you can set the rule as a teacher. You can set the rule, or as a student, you can play with another your friend. You can set the rules. So usually we have like for example, 2-element ship, 3-element ship, 4-element ship. 2-element ship means the element should be 2 elements side by side. Okay, either it's vertically or horizontally. All right. So side by side. So this is a 2-element ship. For example, here I have chromium and magnesium side by side. So it's a when I make it as a shape, I just use a marker pen, okay, or any whiteboard marker pen, because you can reuse, but don't use permanent, okay. And then I just make a shape like this. All right. And then maybe another one is a 3-element shape. So maybe I want to do it here. Okay, and then I have another 4-element shape. So I want to do it somewhere here. Okay, and finally 5-element shape. So I can actually go to the what do you call the other series here, the lanternites and also the actinites, but usually I don't go there because we are not really exposing the student to that particular elements. Okay, so you can just utilize the very common what do you say portion of the periodic table. Okay, so you can see here I have two horizontal style and also one vertical ship here. So this is the ship that you shouldn't expose to the players, and I mean your opponent. Okay, so what happened is that usually the players will call out the period number and also the group number, which means okay, I want to sink one of the ships, so I call out the period 6 and group 1. Okay, so the another student, okay, they have to say which element and what are the properties or something like that. You can incorporate the rules up to you. Okay, in the sense of like if you want to have more interactive learning, you can just ask the student, oh, okay, what is the group number, what is the proton number, okay, what is the properties or reactivity of the group, and something like that. Okay, if not, you can just play as it is. Okay, so the another opponent have to check out their space, okay, in the period table and reach the element on the space called by the first player. Okay, but let's say if for example the particular player say period 6 and group 2, so it's a barium. So I don't have any ship at the barium portion there. Okay, so I just say it's miss. Okay, so this thing will go on and go on, taking turn by one student to another student. Okay, and then until all the ships has been hit. Okay, how the ship can be noted as hit? When the opponent player or any player correctly guess the portion where you have already marked it. All right. So this is it's a very good game in the sense of that whichever player that managed to sink all the ships, okay, of their opponent, then they win. All right. So actually, it's a very good interactive game that I personally find out, in the net, and to make sure the students somehow interested, okay, studying the elements in the periodic table. All right. So having said that, I hope that this workshop give and some insight for you, especially on the earlier portion just now. in a note taking and how to create the notes in the sense of like in a creative way. Okay, I show you just now. I have 3 templates here. It's a very useful template. There's a lot of templates that out there, but you can actually stick to 1 or 2 templates which you are comfortable with. Okay, each and every template here have their own purpose. For example, the wallet here, you can use it for presentation or preparation for the interviews. Who knows? Okay, you can use it. And then for this one is for the overview of the small chapters or small portion of the particular chapter. And this template is for the overview of the whole chapter itself. Okay, because it's like you can make a whole summary, okay, of the chapters. And I purposely make it blank here because I don't want to it's up to you what you want to write inside. I just put it in a way of the color coding and something like that. You can actually create in a like a bar here, okay, or actually in a square form like this. So it's up to you. Its creativity is up to each and every individuality. All right. So having said that, thank you very much for your time here. Having said it's a Saturday morning, and I'm really proud to see most of the students here waking up early in the morning on Saturday morning and listening to my workshop. Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sree Amertharaj. Okay, so anyone, if you have any question, you may leave it at the chat box. While waiting for the question, I have a feedback form I now post at the chat box. So hope participants can help me to fill out the feedback form. Anyone, do you have any question? You have any question about chemistry? If you want to ask, you can ask also.
Yeah, if you have any question regarding chemistry, because most of the student thinks that chemistry is very hard. I wouldn't say it's hard. It's just that how you understand it. Okay. So if you have anything to ask regarding chemistry or study notes, you can just pop up the question. Thank you, Theo. Okay, thank you, Noor Ili. I hope that the ideas like somehow can useful for your maybe your teaching or your learning process. Yeah, the diamond was actually because that's why, because I have three different templates to use for different purposes. Okay, so that's why most of you might think the diamond is a bit overwhelmed because it's too many foldings. But actually, that is for the whole chapter. If you want to cover up the whole chapter, so you can use a very large template. Okay. But if you want to cover a small chapters or subtopics, okay, within the chapter or within the subtopic, then you can use the book size, okay, and also the pocket, the wallet template, all right? Okay, the diamond is actually currently the one I've tested is either you can use it as a 1 piece or 3 pieces. If it's more than that, it can be done. I bet it can be done, but the folding will be different. So I didn't try it out yet. Okay, if I try it out and it works, then I try to post it somewhere in the KLESF, page or something like that. right? So far, I've just tried only one diamond and also the 3 diamond together. Okay, how to know? Okay, how do you know which points are more important when taking notes? I tend to find that my teachers read out whole text and ask us to memorize it. Okay. Uh, it is a very, I would say, mm, tough question because the understanding of which notes are important or which points are important is differ from one student to another student. So you should have some guideline, okay, in the sense of like which topic or which points are important, in the sense of like maybe you can refer back to your final examination. Sometimes when you look into your revision books there, they have the summary of which question is frequently being asked, okay, and which question is not being asked or something like that. And from that summary, you can somehow get some point. Okay, this topic is quite important because it can be asked frequently. Okay, and sometimes you also cannot say that certain topics that not being asked for some time is not important. Okay, when you see your teacher explain more in the sense of like long-winded, okay, you can somehow extract from their explanation, because sometimes the teacher can be excited, okay, to explain more. So you can just you will have some hint from the explanation which point is kind of like important, because from their voice or from their notes they will tend to emphasize on their particular points and something. For example, in my class I would always say, okay students, this part is very 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 important. They know that I'm saying so many very means is important. So you have to read the tone of your teacher's kind of like a teacher's voice and something like that. And sometimes, like I say, look back all your past year exam questions or your revision questions, and from there you can actually get a lot of information on which part is quite important and so on. Like I say, the effort should be done from your side also. Okay, you should have some revision beforehand, in the sense of like before you attend the class. Not say revision, I just say go through your chapters before you attend the class and something like that. Okay, so sometimes you can't help it, but you have to put a little bit more hard work in the sense of to extracting the important points. Okay, and like I say, it differs from one student to another student. Which one is important, which one is not important. Okay, the guide is you can actually look back to your past year papers or revision question, and from there you can know somehow, okay, this question is very popular, so it can be asked many times and something like that. Okay. Any other question, guys? I had one question regarding how to study organic chemistry. I don't know who asked, but when it comes to organic chemistry, like I say, it's very tricky, I would say, because it is a very wide branch of all the different functional groups of the organic compound. Basically, it's on the linkage, okay, from one organic compound to another organic compound, how you want to link it. Okay, so generally speaking, you cannot study chapter by chapter for your organic chemistry, in the sense of that you cannot say, okay, I'm only going to study alcohol. Okay, because when you study about alcohol, you're going to link it to your carbonyl compound, you're going to link it to your alkene, you're going to link it to your carboxylic acid compound, and so on. Okay, so it's like one whole package there. So you can actually study from mechanism basis, whether it's an electrophilic mechanism or nucleophilic mechanism. Nucleophilic also have two: nucleophilic substitution, nucleophilic addition. Electrophilic also got addition, okay, electrophilic substitution. Okay, and also you can study by reaction basis, whether it's oxidation, reduction, okay, or Grignard reagent reaction or something like that. Okay, so for organic chemistry, you actually you should actually put a lot of tips for, I mean, a lot of effort for you to, you know, get into the, to get it better like, in organic chemistry. Okay. Any tips for naming organic compound? I think there's a lot of IUPAC rules that we need to consider. Yes, okay. The tip is that you already said, okay, you have to follow the rules. Okay. Again, I will emphasize, okay, most of the time, students nowadays, they will think in the way of like, okay, if I study once is enough already. Okay, actually no, you have to revise many times. You have to practice, or like how you do your mathematics, especially for organic compound. You have to like for naming of the organic compound, because there is in the sense of like a certain way or certain rules that you need to apply in order to name it correctly. Okay, sometimes the organic compound looks like very familiar and you like very confident, okay, this is a name, okay, but ends up getting a wrong functional group, okay, or wrong parent name or wrong numbering. All right, so having said that, you have to do a lot of exercises, okay, especially for the naming part of the organic compound. It's like your mathematics. Chemistry is like mathematics. The more you practice, the better it will be. Any other question, guys? Yeah, practice makes perfect. Yes. Okay, wait. I think inorganic chemistry is the easiest, followed by organic, then physical. Yeah, it depends. I would say. Some students don't like to memorize. Okay, they feel physical chemistry is better because they like to do all the calculation. Okay, but generally most of them feel that organic chemistry is hardest lah. But it depends again. It depends on the student itself. Okay, some students love memorizing subjects, so they tend to feel that organic chemistry is easy. Okay, because they might not like calculation part. Okay, like in my classes also, we have 3 semesters. Some students can do well in the physical chemistry, but when it comes to inorganic chemistry, they couldn't do well because it needs to you have to memorize more. All right, and generally speaking, organic chemistry they did quite well because they understand what they are doing. So it depends on each individual, each student, whether which branch is better for them, either for calculation part or the memorizing part, right?
Okay, thank you. Before we end the workshop, I have a short promotion about our KLESF competition. So if you have any question, you can still leave it at the chat box. We will come back later. So now Um, I would like to share my screen to promote the competition. One moment. Okay. Okay, so every year we have KLESF the fair at the Mines Convention Center. However, this year the physical event is postponed to next year. So how about our student project competition? That is the KLESF International Challenge. This year we will still have the competition, but we'll be doing via online submission. Video submission. So this is our website, www.klesf.net. How you go to the link from the tab KLESF 2020, go to the KLESF International Challenge 2020. So this is the screenshot of the website. So you can scan the barcode to go to the website also. And deadline for submission is 15 November 2020, Sunday, before 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Sorry. Okay, so just a brief to go through a brief detail for the competition. We have two categories. First is primary school, second for secondary school. This year the project teams are sustainable development goals. First is the goal 3, good health and well-being. Another is goal 11, sustainable city and community. You can choose either one theme for your video. And then the assessment criteria remain the same. We have 4 criteria, and then the rubrics is available at our website. You may refer to the rubric details there. Then no fee will be charged for the participation, maximum 3% in a team. We do not limit the number of team from each school, and then each team have to submit their form. So this will be via video submission. Okay, then repeat again, the deadline is 15 November 2020, Sunday. We will have our winner announcement during our eKLESF. The details of eKLESF will be published in the website in this recent one week lah. So tentatively, with the time for announcement will be about 10 o'clock. We will send the details to the participants about the announcement also. So if you have any question, you may contact me. I'm Li Wen Xiang or Puan Azura, Puan Marian. This is our contact, and the website also have our contact too. Okay, so that's all. And another is this is our Facebook page. If we have any info, we will post it at our Facebook page too. So hope you can like our page. Okay, that's all. So that's all about our annual competition. So if you have any question about KLESF or this about this workshop, you may leave your question or message or even email to me. If it's about the chemistry, I will pass your question to Mr. Sree Amertharaj. So another thing is I will appreciate if you can help me to fill out the feedback form. I have posted the link at the chat box just now. Okay, do you have any question to ask? Okay, if you still
Miss Lee,
yep.
Miss Lee. Okay, I just want to show one of the my creation to the students so that they can utilize this in their future references.
Okay.
Before we end, okay. So
Okay.
actually, this I would say wheel of fortune. But last time I used to teach biology, so I did for biology. Okay, so this is like an interactive learning in the sense of like how you recognize the blood cell. Okay, and in this case, I use it. I use it in my class. Okay, so I recognize the blood cell in the sense of we play a mini game that you have the 2 layers here. The last one is the description of the blood cell, and the second layer here is the what you call the structure of the blood cell and the name of the blood cell at the end. Okay, so actually, if there's a teacher here, you can actually use this kind of interactive learning for your classes and so on. Okay, so you make them more engaging, and they'll try to get exposed to the information that's given here. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing all the work that you have done. It's very interesting. Actually, we can apply to other subject that we are studying,
Yeah,
or even in our work. It,
yeah, agree.
it's a way of for like presentation.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's all for the question. There is no other question, so we will end our workshop here. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all the skills today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we also would like to thank all the participants for joining us today. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll end here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.